right, guys, phenomenal morning. Welcome, welcome. This is Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Junior Frederick. If you tuning in live, two things I need you to do. Number one, put some flames in the chat, and of course, let us know where you're calling in from. I have with me the king of branding himself, Mr. Shaan Rais. Shaan, how you doing?
Here we go. Okay, I am absolutely phenomenal. No complaints whatsoever. Not
Yes, sir.
one. Not one.
Okay.
And wherever you're calling in from, wherever you guys are in from, how are you guys feeling? It's a phenomenal morning. Yes, okay. AZ, phenomenal. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get into some questions. I know I've been very busy preparing for speaking like a leader, the next the next installment in the Like a Leader series. So I haven't been on hands as regular. So let me hear some questions, Junior. Let's get into some questions real quick.
Yes, sir. And before we get into those questions, I want to say good morning. I see we have Tracy Harris joining us. Good morning. Tracy's in Arizona. I see we have somebody else who's in Queens, New York. So shout out to New York. You already know. So Shan, my first question to you would be like, what's going on? Like, what's going on in I guess in your world? Like, what's coming up? What's happening?
Speaking like a leader is what's happening, man. Speaking like a leader, I've been working probably for the past 3 months, 3 months to put together the most phenomenal curriculum for speakers, for those who want to use their voice to be able to build a community, to be able to build a following, to be able to build their wealth, to be able to build themselves as an individual, right? Effect. I did show up on Clubhouse last night to speak to the power of effective communication. And a lot of people think that they want to speak to make money, right? And I just want to speak to that for a moment. Money is a byproduct of service. Money is a byproduct of service. So the money's there. So again, speaking is the highest paid profession in the world. There is no, so you let's say let me give you an analogy. You have engineers for nuclear power plants that make a phenomenal amount of money. But many times those engineers can't communicate what they do. So when it comes time to educate people on engineering, they bring in a speaker. And the speaker gets paid in a day. In a day, many times what the engineer gets paid in a year to do his work. Now, they may go to college, they may have multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars in degrees, and they may earn multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars through the course of their career, even millions. But a speaker who can effectively communicate what's taking place and how it works and motivate and energize people to become engineers, they make the kind of money. So remember when I said you can literally turn your yearly income monthly, your monthly income weekly, and your weekly income daily? Speaking, many times, you can turn your yearly income daily. That's what
Very,
I've been working on.
very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now we're gonna go to a break in 2 minutes. Um, but that I find that interesting, guys. Who finds that interesting? Put a number one in the chat. You know, it's so funny, Sean. Growing up, I I almost went down the path of mechanical engineering.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I almost became an engineer. You know, I
Mm,
don't know what. I guess for me, it never pulled on my, I guess, my heartstrings, or however you want to call it. So I ended up not doing that and going into business, because business is what I love. Business is what
good.
I didn't know what business I wanted to have, but I knew I wanted to be in business. Whatever it was, I didn't care what it was, but I wanted to be there. And so that's why I guess I made the decisions I made and why I'm here today. But it's so interesting that you say that. And the question I want to ask you is why? Like, what is it? What justifies that? Because somebody goes to school, let's say 5 years. I have friends who are studying to become doctors, some who are mechanical engineers, but to think that they went through all of that rigorous training for 5 years, and then I could come in as a speaker and make more money than they did. Like, what justifies that?
Well, engineering is not the most feared profession in the world. It's pretty safe. It's pretty comfortable. People are comfortable doing engineering. They learn it, they apply it, and they do it. And it's a routine practice. Let me say that. It's a routine practice. You come in, you follow instructions, and pretty much if someone can be taught how to do it, then anyone can do it. It's not a specialized individual. It's not individual specific. It's paying attention and following directions. That's the kind of occupation engineering is. It doesn't take intuition, insight, and it's not, how do you say, pliable. So when I say pliable, I've spoken at events where the mic went off, right? And I had to innovate and flow still. Just raise my voice a little bit and speak to the people in the back. I've also had situations where things have happened in crowds that were unexpected. And you have to roll over that, innovate, and flow around that, right? So it's very independent. I want everybody listening to think about yourself. Think about yourself and what you bring to a situation. Everybody's voice is different. Everybody's education may be the same, but their experiences are different and their perception based on their experience is different. So everybody delivers content differently, right? When you think of phenomenal speakers, think of phenomenal speakers that you know, and then the difference that they have, right? So when you think of 5 different speakers, you think of 5 different communication styles. No two are exactly the same. Engineers, you walk into a room of engineers, it's going to be kind of hard to tell them apart. I mean, everybody has the shirt on, the plaid, you know, the pocket protector, you know what I mean? Yeah, sometimes they'll have the helmet on, right? But when you walk into a room full of speakers, everybody's different. Everybody's different. And there's so much opportunity out here for those who are unafraid to speak. And also, let me say this too, engineers keep us safe and secure. Speakers transform lives and businesses.
Yes, sir. And on that note, let's go to a quick break. And we are back. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Junior Frederick. I have with me Shaan Rais, the king of branding and positioning. Listen, guys, if you're enjoying the show so far, if you just started tuning in, whichever one it is, put some flames in the chat. Let us know where you're listening in from. I see we have New York, we have Arizona, I see Africa in the building. Um, where exactly is it? I'm not sure exactly what part of Africa that is. If you're on LinkedIn, shout out to you. So to all of our LinkedIn people, all of our Facebook, um, YouTube as well, shout out. Okay, so Shan, we're back. Okay, so I have a question. By the way, guys, if you have any questions for Shan, just put them in the chat. I have a question. So I had a discussion with a young lady yesterday. She's a medical professional, right? Also small business owner.
Okay.
She's basically a doctor. She wants to charge high prices. She wants to do amazing things, but she keeps coming across this roadblock. The roadblock is confidence. I,
Mm.
Listen, I charge high prices. I'm not a doctor, so if I could do it, you can do it too. So my question to you is, like, how does one go about developing confidence? How does one develop confidence?
That's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people struggle with, right? I think that your level of confidence reflects your relationship with yourself. It reflects your relationship with yourself. Promises, promises. The question that I have for someone when it comes to confidence is, do you keep your promises to yourself? Confidence, promise. Do you keep your promises to yourself? Can you say to yourself, I'm going to start working out, and mean it, and then do it? Because when you do it, you increase the relationship with yourself, which gives you confidence, which means you can trust yourself. You can rely on yourself. Does that make sense? Like, you have to be able to rely on yourself when it comes to certain things. If you cannot, if you cannot relate, if you cannot develop that relationship with yourself, if you can't say something and then do it, your self-efficacy, your self-esteem, and your confidence drops tremendously. So many people walk around with a terrible, terrible sense of confidence, and it comes from a lack or a gap in self-governance. They can't govern their lives, right? So think about a job. Just going to give you an example. Think about a job. A job tells you to wake up at a certain time, be here at a certain time, check in at a certain time. And some people can't even do that. Some people can't do that. Imagine what self-management and self-governance looks like. Many people can't do what they need to do for someone else. They say, I'll meet you at 4 o'clock here, and yes, I'll be able to handle this, this, and this. They don't show up. They don't show up for themselves, right? Or they don't show up for the job, or they don't show up for their mother, or they don't show up for their family. Like, how can they be expected to show up for themselves? And every time you break a promise to yourself, your confidence drops, and drops that much more. On the flip side, every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence raises, because you now know that you can be trusted. You can trust yourself to do it. That's where confidence comes from, the ability to believe that you can keep your covenant to yourself first, as well as others. So when someone asks me, Shaan, if, let's say we're talking about a high ticket item, and someone says, Shaan, are you sure that I'll be able to do X if we go in together and we, work to produce this result? Definitely. Hands down, unequivocally, without question whatsoever, because I deliver results. I know I'm going to show up at this time, at this place, and get this job done. Mandatory. And that's where confidence comes from, self-reliance. and knowing who you are and how you perform. If you don't know who you are and how you perform, you're going to be a little scary. Think about driving. So you got a Tesla and you've got a Toyota. You know, a Tesla is going to perform well under high speeds, very high speeds. Toyota might feel a little bit uncomfortable approaching that 120 miles per hour. Tesla might go up to 180. So you're more confident because you know that it's been tested and put to that extreme endurance measure. That's where confidence comes from. Confidence comes from consistently keeping your promises to yourself. That's where you begin to be able to build brand equity. You can't be trusted by anyone else until you can trust yourself. So my skill or my suggestion to those who are trying to build their own self-confidence, create some goals for yourself that are small and achievable, and make the promise to yourself to complete those, and then do it. Even if it's one push-up a day, change your one push-up a day to 2, and then your 2 to 5, and your 5 to 10, and be consistent, because consistency trumps intensity. Before you know it, you'll be able to rely on yourself. You'll be able to trust yourself, and your confidence will grow exponentially.
Very nice. So I heard you say a couple things there, right? So most people, the way that they express the reason for the lack of confidence is, most of them say, well, how can I charge a high price? But at the back of their mind, they feel like they probably don't have the systems, or they don't have the in other words, they don't have the ability to support it. They don't have the infrastructure in place as yet.
Exactly.
So are you saying, because what I heard you say was, like, despite like whatever you have going on, you rely on the belief that
Oh,
you are an action taker.
yes.
So it's
Yes.
sort of supplements for the infrastructure. So even if you don't have the infrastructure, and I'm pretty much the same way. I'm pretty much the same way. Like, even if I don't know how to do something, I know I'm gonna figure it out. So even if the infrastructure may not be in place, are you saying that somebody could still develop that confidence based on just knowing who they are?
The confidence will be based on the results. The confidence will be based on the results. Again, it goes back to the relationship. Are you able to deliver? Are you sure that you'll deliver despite any odds? I'm just a kid from Harlem who God chose to show his favor and mercy through. We don't get doctorates. We don't get double master's degrees. We don't publish 2 books. But yet I still did it without an infrastructure, without a supportive family system in place, without the example of the phenomenal student who was a phenomenal success who came from my background. I didn't have that, yet I still did that. So when it comes to a deliverable, to me, that's super easy because I've done so many things that are hard. So it doesn't make a difference about infrastructure. Infrastructure, you build infrastructure around confidence. No system, I say this all the time, you can't buy yourself out of a bad offer. You can't buy yourself out of a bad offer. So you can't create structure around something that the owner, the CEO, is unconfident about. The system won't work. This is why phenomenal, huge billion-dollar companies switch CEOs like watches. Because you can have the right system, but the wrong person at the front of it. And when the wrong person leads the right system collapses. It becomes the wrong system because the wrong person is at the helm of it. So let me say this. A lot of people need to hire a CEO for their lives. A lot of people need to let someone else come in and manage their day-to-day operations, because if it's up to them, they're still not awake. If it's up to them, they'll go back to sleep. They need someone to get up and drill sergeant them. Let's go, guys. Get up. It's time to go. It's business time. Let's get it. You said you love your parents. You said you love your children. Let's get to work. And have somebody get up and jump out of the bed and go throw some cold water on their face and get to work. Some people need a CEO in their life to get things done, because if left to their own devices and their own level of confidence, they'll just go back to sleep. They'll
many people have said
promises.
Back in the day, a lot of people used to say that to me. Like they'll say, "Well, I don't even want to get out of bed." You know, I don't want to get out of bed. So I definitely understand that. I definitely understand that. But what you just said there, I think it touches a little bit not only on self-confidence, but also, I guess, self-esteem as well.
Well, let me give you an example. Can I? Let me provide an example. When people come through Branded Like a Leader, let me say this: no one survives Branded Like a Leader. Just think about that for a moment. Ask me what I mean.
What do you mean by that?
Your old identity, the identity that you come with to Branded Like a Leader, dies. You sacrifice the old identity that you come to the Branded Like a Leader program. When you come with an old identity, that old identity must be sacrificed on the altar of improvement. That old identity no longer exists. You don't leave Branded Like a Leader the way you came to Branded Like a Leader. Your attire changes, your self-confidence changes, your voice changes, the way you look at people. You say things with your chest. You have no problem with stating high prices. You kind of speak from your gut now, from your diaphragm, instead of what we used to call a bird chest. From the, when we would be in the gym, we used to tell people they got a bird chest. You're not speaking from a bird chest anymore. You're speaking from the cavity of your diaphragm, and your voice changes and it resonates, and you see high numbers. So you say high numbers and you say them confidently because you know your value. No one survives Branded Like a Leader.
Guys, put some flames in the chat if you understand that.
No one survives Branded Like a Leader. Everyone comes out different than the way they came in.
I have one question before we go to break. I want to know from the people listening, how many of you are looking for a transformation in your life? How many of you are seeking transformation? Like, I just want to know, right? How many of you here are seeking some kind of transformation, whether it be it could be your health, it could be your mental health, physical health, your business, anything, like some kind of transformation. So let's take a quick break, Mr. B. When we come back, we're going to read a few of these answers. Let's go.
Hey guys, listen, right before you stop, right before you quit, before you throw in the towel, I want you to hear this one more time. Listen, you are who you need to be already. I'm going to tell you what they've been hiding from you. You are already who you need to be. Content you don't need any more of. You've been had enough content. What you need is context. What you need is system. You have the skill. What you need is system. You have the presence. You need the procedure. You have the promise. You need the process. I want to show you the process and the system to go from where you are to where you need to be, and how to get clients finally on autopilot. Let's grow.
All right, guys, welcome back. This is Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Junior Frederick. Put some flames in the chat if you've been enjoying the show so far. I want to bring up a few of these answers. Before we went to break, I was asking how many of you are looking for some kind of transformation, meaning that you have somewhere that you are right now and you have somewhere else that you're trying to be in a different space and time. So I want to read a few of these answers. I see we have Kathleen Cannon. Miss Kathleen Cannon, phenomenal morning to you. What
She
did I
said,
step into?
what did she just step into?
I didn't see that. Wow, wow. What did she just step into? Let me tell you what you just stepped into. What you just stepped into is a brand new reality where the possibility of you being able to step into the vision of your dreams, the vision of your life, just became real. Whatever it is that you've been seeking, whether it be a strong desire, I don't know, to build a business, to leverage your professional experience, to build a business, whether it be to peel back the layers or on maybe anything, peel back the layers that you've been feeling deep inside yourself that you need to touch. But so far, you haven't had the system, you haven't had the process, the procedure, the guidance to tap into. Whether it be that you've always felt this from ever since you were young, it's grown with you, and now you've arrived at a point where you feel like you can't hold it any longer. If you have ever had a desire to have some kind of transformation in your life, then you have now arrived at the point of transformation. So that's where you are right now. And I want to say phenomenal morning to you, Kathleen. Put some flames in the chat for yourself.
We have a Robin Peak from LinkedIn as well. Good morning. Good morning. Phenomenal, phenomenal morning. We kind of left on the CEO of your life, right? And
Yes.
the question was posed to me about confidence. And I said, some people lack confidence because they're unable to keep their covenants. They're unable to keep their covenants to themselves first. And when you don't keep your covenant to yourself, every time that you lie to yourself, every time that you break a promise to yourself and it becomes comfortable, it becomes more and more comfortable to break a promise to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to think of the words fail to deliver. Fail to deliver. So if you make a promise to yourself, listen, it is the 3rd month. As a matter of fact, we still in the 1st week. So I did a training with my team and my community where I told them this is the 1L1. 1L1. The 1st week of the last month of the 1st quarter. 1st week, last month, 1st quarter. What have you already failed in doing? Because it's the 1st of the year, everybody says, I'm going to do this, this, and this. This is what I'm going to do. They enter the new year fired up, December 31st. The transition from December 31st to January 1st. They're like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. How many people have already failed to deliver to themselves? I'm going to start waking up at this time. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to join this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up. I'm going to stop lying to myself. I'm going to start eating this. I'm going to. 1st week, last month of the 1st quarter. After this month, the 1st quarter is over. What goals did you set the 1st month of the 1st quarter that you failed to deliver come the 1st week of the last month in the 1st quarter? That's what we fix. That's what we drill down, and that's what we work on, right? Because when you make a promise to yourself, when you say, I'm going to wake up at 4:00 in the morning, and you set your alarm, and you actually wake up because the alarm wakes you up, but you don't hit the snooze button, you get up and you go throw some cold water on your face and you get to work. Now you begin to change your identity. You begin to change your identity. No longer are you someone who sleeps till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. This is the problem. We're not good at governing ourselves. This is why we can't run businesses, because we lie to ourselves. We say we doing all right. Check the bank account. You're probably not doing all right. You're probably not doing all right. And when we can only govern ourselves when someone else is in control of us. Hold on. Hold on. I'm speaking to a specific individual. I'm speaking to a specific individual. When we can't control our own lives or circumstances, when someone has to says be to work at this time, and somehow we drag back in, but we still make it there, just barely clocking in, sweating, and you show up and you sit down and somehow you're able to perform, but you can't do the same thing for yourself, you're in trouble. When you can't do the same thing for your business, you're in trouble. When you said, I'm going to launch this business, I'm going to build this part of the business. Kathleen says, I'm my real estate. You've got a real estate business. You have to be somewhere at a specific time. You got to take the courses. You got to learn. You got to get the license. You got to meet people. You got to sell yourself first. People don't buy real estate. So many people do real estate. We teach branding, but we don't teach branding what you do. We teach branding you. Why? Because if you can't sell yourself, you can't sell real estate, coaching, speaking, books, clothes, nothing. But when you can sell you, because you buy you first, before anybody else buys you, you have to buy you. You have to love yourself. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't need an alarm. I don't need to read a book. I don't need to watch motivational anything because I'm that person. I motivate myself. It comes from inside of me. I love me. I want to live as long as I can, see myself every single day. Therefore, I work out. Therefore, I eat a certain kind of way. Therefore, I sleep a certain kind of way. Therefore, my main liquid is, do you understand? When you buy you and you show up to an interview, Kathleen, when you show up to an interview and you speak to someone for real estate, they're already like, wow, she was here before I got here. I thought I came early, but she's here. She's already on the inside. Wow, she looks like she takes care of herself. She's real serious about this. Her handshake is firm. She's looking me dead in my eyes. She's not stuttering. She's super confident. Wow, I like her. I like her because I see attributes in her that I could use. So if she tells me to buy this home, I trust her. Know, like, and trust. Confidence comes from knowing yourself, liking yourself, and trusting yourself. And if you don't know yourself, like yourself, or trust yourself because you can't rely on yourself, then no one else is going to really know who you are. They're not going to like you when you show up, and they're not going to trust you. And it's going to be real hard to sell anyone on anything or anyone that you won't buy yourself. Many times we say things to ourselves. I'm going to stop eating this way. I'm going to stop eating cake. But we don't buy it. Not for a moment, because if we bought it, we wouldn't even go into a restaurant where they had it on the menu. We leave back end escapes. We leave back end escapes. We say, I'm going to stop smoking, but we don't tell anyone else. We say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds to ourselves before we go to sleep. And when we wake up, we forget all about it. And we don't ever tell anyone else, and we don't join communities where we're held to the fire either, because God forbid someone should remember what we said and make us accountable to it.
Guys, put some flames in the chat. Put some flames in, and I'm gonna say this too, Shaan.
I'm sorry, am I coming off too hard?
Nah, you good. Like people, like listen, I feel, I don't know if it's me, you sound fine to me. I feel like people need to hear the hard truth. Like, this is not a game. This is not a game. Like,
I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, you know.
Well, I feel like feelings need to get hurt. I'm different. I'm different. So
well, you know, we different, but you know, I don't want anybody to come get offended. Okay, cool. We still got some people. Okay, cool.
You're not offending, but I mean, you know, it's tough love. It's tough love because life is tough. So it's tough love. All right, it's tough love, and I believe, you know.
Let me give an example, Junior. If I feel like I have to give an example, guys. I'm from Harlem, the old Harlem, New York, not Harlem in some other state, Harlem, New York, where black males were supposed to be dead or in jail by the age of and never make it to the age that I am. They're not supposed to be married. They're not supposed to have families. They're not supposed to have businesses. They're not supposed to own their own business. They're not supposed to be able to retire themselves. They're not supposed to be able to pay off their student loans in one whop. I've done all of those things. But I couldn't do it when I believed the narrative that someone else set up for me. When I believed the narrative, when I read the newspaper and I believed that stuff, I fell victim to that stuff. When I believed that stuff, I fell victim to that stuff. When they said black males are lazy, I was lazy then. When I believed it, I became. Your life will be the total sum of your perspectives and your beliefs. Your beliefs become your rituals and your habits. When they said black men stand on a corner, I stood on a corner until I read something else and chose something else.
That's right. So it's all about awareness. It's all about awareness. I mean, even for me, growing up, for those who don't know, I come from the Caribbean, beautiful island called St. Lucia, right? And where I came from growing up, I didn't see many speakers, Shaan. I've always loved speaking. I've been on stage before, but to be honest, I thought speakers didn't make money because I was like, who's gonna pay somebody to come up on a stage and speak and just talk like that? That looks a little far-fetched to me. So I was like, you know, but first time I got involved with speaking was actually, I think, Toastmasters. I just went. I didn't even know we had one. I figured we had one, so I went. And they called me to give I think it was a 2-minute speech or something. And I won one of the little ribbons. And at that time, I was like, maybe I could do this after all.
Maybe there's something to it, huh?
Yeah, maybe there's something. It felt great. It felt really good. But something I wanted to add to what you just said, guys, listen, when your self-confidence, your self-image, and your self-esteem don't line up, you self-sabotage. So y'all should write that down. So when your self-confidence, your self-esteem, right, and your self-image doesn't line up, you self-sabotage. So put some flames in the chat for that, if that is you. So for example, when Shaan was giving the example about the smokers, you don't have to convince non-smokers not to smoke because they don't see themselves as smokers. So my question to everybody looking is, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as somebody who's a real estate expert, or do you see yourself as somebody who's just doing real estate? Like, you have to see yourself as that person and sort of embody the attributes of that person to really be that person. So my question to you is, how do you see yourself? Who do you want to be, and who are you being? So there's a difference between who you are and who you're being. So who you want to be, who you aspire to be, is that greater version of yourself. But perhaps the person that you're being, the person that you're acting, and your behavior doesn't line up with the person that you say you want to be. But in order to become, you have to be. All right? So you have to be the person that you say you want to be to become that person. So right now, ask yourself, does my behavior, does it line up with who I want to be? So who are you being? That would be my question to Kathleen. So Kathleen, who are you being? Robin, who are you being? Tracy, who are you being? Cedric, who are you being? Are you being the person that you say you want to be, or the person that you portray yourself to be? I know for me, I had to make a lot of shifts, but I never said to myself, I am going to do something. Like, I'm going to stop eating this. I just stopped because I know that, like, you speak it into existence. So I would say I have stopped, or I already stopped. I wouldn't say I'm going to stop, because if I'm going to stop, that means I'll continue to try to stop. If that makes sense. You see what I'm saying, Shaan? Like, listen to the language. I am going to do something. Language. Just like people talk about the future. I'm gonna do this tomorrow. When today comes, tomorrow is gonna be the next day. So they fulfill what they say. You understand? So you can't say you can't say I'm going to do something like that guy said, that movie, I think it was Yoda, right? He said, "Do or do not. There is no try." All right, do or
That's
do not.
right.
There is no try.
That's right. That's right. And I want to say one more thing before we go to the break, right?
Yes.
And I want this to impress upon your mindset. There were some people who think they knew me before I became a millionaire. But I was a millionaire long before we hit 7 figures. We'll be right back.
What is up, guys? Phenomenal morning. Listen, if you've been enjoying the show so far, I want you to do one thing in the chat.
Now I gotta, I gotta come on to this. Listen, on the back end, I was telling Junior, I'm gonna get him. On the back end, I was like, I'm gonna get him when we come back, right? Because let me tell you this. And yesterday I went live in our Facebook group and I used the framework. It was a God framework. So it was a God framework, not religious, just something that will stick in the mind and root in the mind. So I used a God framework: guidance, objective, and decision. Guidance, objective, and decision. So you have to have guidance to get where you're trying to go. If you don't see the example, if you don't know the example, if there is no example for you to follow, it's like trying to get from New York to Texas with no GPS and no map. It's ludicrous, and it'll never happen. Not even by luck and chance. There's no luck good enough. You'll just be driving. Good luck. Objective. If you don't have an objective, you're already there. If you don't have an objective, get happy with your life. Whatever you don't like about it, like dig into it and make a nice little nest, because you're not going anywhere. And then make a decision. So for those who say they understand what I'm talking about and they are the person, I want to ask you, do your investments line up with your inclinations? Do your investments line up with your inclinations? Look at the life of millionaires. They don't wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning. I can remember the first time I looked at leadership, right? Now I'm so close to my doctorate in leadership. I've got like butterflies in my stomach. So I'm taking 2 doctorates. I've got 2 masters already. I've written 2 books. I do a lot of things in pairs, in doubles. Why? Because I've never seen the example. I don't know one person who has the double doctorate. So I said, let me overshoot and become the person who I don't see. What are you doing to become the person you don't see? What are you doing? I signed up voluntarily for 2 doctorates. Now I'm 3/4 way through both of them. My dissertation is going to be 1 project, and I've already done the work. It's just presenting the work and getting through the coursework ahead of it, which is maybe 6 months away. My question to you, realistically, is what are you doing to become the example that you can't find? Let me tell you how I chose to do leadership in the first place. When I was going from my undergrad into graduate degree in graduate school, I looked at possible majors and specializations. And when I came across leadership, I was inclined to go in that direction, but I think in references. Most of us, write that down, guys. Most of us think in patterns and references. So we try to draw patterns and draw references to what we already know. And then we say, okay, I can do this because I see X. For me, in my background, I said, okay, who do I know who's in a leadership position, who comes from my background and has overcome some of the things that I've overcome? I couldn't find that person for the life of me. In my mind, I could not think. Good morning, brother. YB, definitely. I could not find another person in a leadership position who came from the disparaging backgrounds that I came from. And at that moment, I thought about my children. At that moment, I thought about my children. I said, wow, if I'm 30 and change and I can't find a leader who comes from my background, my young sons and my daughter, they can't possibly find a leader who looks like them and comes from their background. At that point, I no longer had an option. My option turned into the only objective. It was something that I had to do to become the example for them so they could see a possibility. So again, what narratives, what ceilings are you shattering? What narratives are you breaking? What general curses are you transforming into new realities? What are you really, really doing? If you take an assessment of your actions and your decisions and your obligations and your objectives, which one meet, not where you are and who you are, but who you're trying to become. So if you're trying to go from 6 figures to 7 figures, what 7-figure people are you in a group with? And what 7-figure people what you want the identity, but you don't want the ritual. You want the identity, you want the result, but you don't want the progress. You don't want the work. Nobody wants that work. Like everybody wants that salary, but nobody wants that work. They don't want to put in the work that it takes to become the person. They just want to come in and go from a private to a silver star sergeant, 5-star general. Nobody wants that 18-year career being shot at. Nobody wants that. They just want the respect. They want the respect and the results. But you can't get the respect and the results without going through the process. There's a process that you have to go through, that you have to submit to. There's qualifications that you have to acquire through time. Everybody gets a job and they want to be promoted immediately. They come on the job, they're like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're doing. This person doesn't know what they're doing. They're being paid this, they're being paid that, and I'm only being paid this. You haven't been there for 18 months yet. Relax. Relax. If you want what other people have, be willing to sacrifice what other people have sacrificed and put in the work that other people have put in and become a trainee, become a mentee, become a coachee for the people that have the results that you want. Everybody says they want the transformation, but nobody wants to go through the transformative process or make the investments that warrant. Watch this. No one makes the investments that warrant the investment in them. Everybody's like, pay me more time. Pay me more time. I'm trying this. Don't you see I'm trying this? I need help. I need this. I need that. Okay, make the investments that match your desire to get the investment in you. And be honest with yourself. Be genuine. What investments are you making sleeping until 10 o'clock in the afternoon? You're like, oh, it's Sunday. I can do that. No, you can't. Not if you're trying to be phenomenal. No, you can't. 3 o'clock? Okay, so Sunday, you got to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wake up for yourself the same way you wake up for someone else. As a matter of fact, if you wake up at 6 o'clock to be on a job at 9 o'clock, then wake up at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock for yourself. How about that? I used to go to sleep at 11 o'clock, wake up at 2 o'clock for myself. That's the process. That's the sacrifice. Where's your process? Where's your sacrifice? If you tell me where your sacrifices are and you tell me where your alliances and your alignment is, I'll tell you what your bank account is and why it's not what you want it to be.
Wow. I mean, you said a lot there.
I want to help somebody, brother.
No, I know. I want to know what everybody thinks. Quick shout out to YB. That's right. Quick shout out to YB. So I'm curious, guys. Put it in the chat. What do you think? What are your thoughts on what Shaan just said? Put that in the chat. As you said a lot there, brother. A lot.
I know, brother. I know. I hope we still friends. You know, I want to be your friend. So I got to tell you the truth. See, some people want friends who not really friends. They want allowances. They want people who allow them to be a weaker version of themselves. See, I want the kind of friends that's going to hold my face to the fire and tell me what I'm not doing. Tell me how I'm not who I think I am, how my words and my actions are not in alignment with my goals and directives. That's what I want. I want clarifiers, not aiders and abettors who just want to get along.
That's right. Big difference. So Kathleen, can you bring that up, Mr. B? Let's bring up what Kathleen just said. So she said, no more excuses. 100%.
Let me ask her a question. What excuses have you been making for yourself, Kathleen? If we're being honest, like what excuses have you made for yourself that you're not going to make anymore? See, this is an accountability call for other people. It's a wake-up call, right? But we're going to hold you to the fire here. I hope that's okay, right? So Cedric says, I wake up at 3 a.m. for myself every day without a clock. That sounds phenomenal, Cedric. What do your results look like?
We also, while we're waiting for those answers, we also have another one, Mr. B. It's by a Facebook user. I can't see who that person's name is.
Hold on. I got to clarify. If you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you don't have the results that you need, then you need to wake up maybe a little bit earlier or a little bit later, because I got to clarify. If you're not doing the right actions and you're not around the right people, it doesn't make a difference what time you wake up. If you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and eating cake, it won't help. Does that make sense? So you got to be very, very decided about the actions that you take at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't just wake up at 3 o'clock because you saw a meme where people said that 7-figure earners wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't do that. Do what you need to do in order to become the person that you want to be. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's the right actions. You can, if you've got the wrong actions. How do you say it, Junior? How you say it. I got it here somewhere in my notes.
So okay. So the formula to success. Well, one of them, anyways. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right skill set. You have to have the right actions, but you also have to have the right coach. And then you get the right results. So right mindset, right skill set, right actions, right coach, and then you get the right results. But I know what you're talking about, though, Shaan. So I'm gonna say it.
You said there's no right way to do. Yeah, tell me about that. Tell me that.
So when the wrong man or woman does the right thing,
pay attention, guys. Write this down. This is phenomenal. We're gonna bookmark this. Go ahead.
When the wrong woman all man does the right thing. The right thing works in the wrong way.
Ooh, hold on. We're gonna check mark this video because we're gonna start the recording here. Go ahead, say it again.
When the wrong person does the right thing works in the wrong way. So this goes back to what you were saying, Shaan. Like, are you the person? Because, for example, let's say, I'll use Kathleen as an example. Not saying that you're not the right person, just as an example, because you brought it up. If you're not who you want to be or who you're supposed to be, even if you carry out, now I don't know much about real estate, but even if you go, let's say, go about it in the right way, right? Like you do the right, whatever you're supposed to do to make the transaction happen. If you're not the right person, it doesn't come out the right way. It just doesn't work. And I found that when it comes to sales, when it comes to anything, like a
Here's
whole
another
lot of
piece.
strange stuff starts happening. Like, for example, you leave your house, um, you run into some rain, like rain wets, like all sorts of strange stuff starts happening when you're not.
But
I
watch
didn't
this, watch this,
experience that.
Junior. Watch
Uh-huh.
this. On the other side of it, if you're the wrong person, you can do the right thing and you can get the results, but the results won't work for you.
Exactly. And let me speak to that. Let me speak to that.
Go ahead.
I'll use, let's say a coaching program or any program. I've given people programs for free. This as an experiment. Like, hey, take this. Like, hey, I don't have the money, and no problem. Go ahead, have it.
You pay for it for them.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But what I've realized is that even when we give away stuff for free, the people who receive the free stuff, let's say, like you give somebody a box with instructions, you say, hey, this is everything you need to know. Have fun. They can't apply it. They cannot apply it because they're not the person. You
There you
understand?
go.
They didn't pay the dues. Like,
There
there's a
you
saying
go.
that you get
There you
exactly
go.
what you pay for,
That's
right?
right. That's
They're
right.
not the person.
It came for free. It
Exactly.
came for free. They found it. They found it.
Exactly. So even if you give it to them, like you wrap it up and you put a bow on it, like they can't use it. They just can't use it because they're not the person. So caffeine, even if you're not the right person and you alone know who that person is, right? If you're not the right person, if you don't feel like deep within yourself, you don't feel like you're the right person, even if you do the right things, you don't get the right result. Like the cake doesn't come out in the same way, right, Shan? When somebody
Definitely
when
doesn't.
somebody makes
It
when somebody
definitely
makes
doesn't. And
yeah,
I'll give another phenomenal example, right? 16-year-olds wrap cars around trees all the time. Right? That I'm gonna say it again slow so everybody catches it. 16-year-olds wrap cars around trees all the time. However, if you make them work, understand economics, save money, take the right steps, become the real person from 16 to 21 or 25, when they buy their first car by their own sweat and merit, they appreciate it and they end up having it for a long time. However, when you give a child an adult toy, they break it or they find some way to lose it or harm someone with it, including themselves. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. And this comes back to self-efficacy and self-confidence. You can't give yourself an adult toy, no matter how old you are, if you still have the discipline set or the mindset of a child. This is America has 50% divorce rate. Everybody wants what comes with marriage except the commitment. Let me just put it that way. What do people say? Well, when you get married, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this. Okay. Kids want that. Kids want that. And a lot of kids are trying to play adults and end up in a bad position in adulthood because of things and decisions that they made as children. It's the same thing in business. Everybody wants to fast forward the process and get to the results, but nobody wants to do the work. Everybody wants to speak. Nobody wants to be trained and formally trained and go through the process of the bad shows. When you do an event and no one comes. When you build a business and there's a lot of failed payments and people drop out and people aren't being who they said they were going to be in the beginning, you want to drop out and throw in the towel. That comes with being a CEO. Failed businesses come with having a successful business. Everybody wants a successful business, but nobody wants to go through the process of the failed businesses and the failed attempts and the shuttered doors. Everybody wants the Bentley, the Jaguar, and the Testarossa, but nobody wants to go through the Toyota that it takes to get there, or the 5 different iterations and versions.
Mm-hmm.
When you speak to millionaires, they'll tell you about bankruptcies and they'll tell you about cars that were repoed and jobs that they lost and getting fired and walking off of jobs and sleeping in their car. Everybody Steve Harvey, pretty fly.
Mm-hmm.
He got some nice suits. He got some real nice suits. People turn around, they're like, Steve Harvey everywhere. He's doing this, he's doing that. He look fly here, he on everything. He slept in his car for 3 years. How many of you can do that for your success? How many of you are willing to take the fire? In my first book, The 7 Prerequisites to Success, I talked about being burnt and having the dross removed from you and all of the impurities removed from you. That's how you get to gold. You get to gold by going through the fire. You can't go through diamonds come from going coal. When you put coal through fire, and it's called a refinement process. It's called a refinement process. That's how you get the gold and the diamonds from the dirt and the coal. Girl's best friend, everybody wants the diamond, but nobody wants to go through the process of refinement. You're running from your success. When you run from the pain and you're like, oh, this is too hard for me. Okay, let me tell you something. I don't care how hard something is. I don't care how hard it was for me to get here. I woke up 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, went to the gym, traveled 4 hours a day to a job in the Bronx from Long Island, and went to school full-time online, same time to get where I'm at. And I do it all over 10 million times. No matter how hard it was. Some people got a little bit of a problem and a little bit of a problem on their back, and they tired and they feel exhausted and they're like, it's too much. I got to go to sleep. Let me tell you something. It would be so much harder for me to walk into a job that I hate for the rest of my life for 50 weeks to have 2 weeks free and then hope me and my wife could talk to our superiors and get our vacation time around the same time so we could enjoy time at home during what they call a staycation. That's much more painful to me than anything else. I didn't care what it took. I invested everything in terms of time and money to get where I'm at. So again, guys, look at your investments. Look at your investments. Do your investments match where you want to go? And if they don't, make some serious adjustments.
You know what I'm going to say, Shaan? I'm going to say everything is hard. Choose your heart.
Yeah, I like that. See, I speak for 16 minutes and Junior just boils it down in one sentence. He's funny. He's real cool to be here. He summarizes everything I say in 2 seconds. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Everybody, think about it. Like everything is hard. Like whether you choose to do this, whether you choose to go to a job, like that's hard. Like before I was doing this, like I was doing like real hard work. Like people.
Like what? Hold on. Give us an example. What's your example? What are you talking about?
Like for example, I would be on like scaffolding, like three stories high. Like real. Like for example, a lot of people
Labor.
like exactly like actual manual labor, right?
Like, oh, okay. Junior might have froze up for a minute.
People and sometimes.
Okay, you froze up
back.
for a minute.
Am I back?
Go ahead, take it back.
So it used to be like I used to see people work in offices all the time, and like, oh, this is hard. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're literally at home in front of a computer, or wherever, and we're out in the sun. I still have a tan. Shaan, I have a tan on my arm here from like 2 years ago. Like like I was at the top. Let me tell you something. I was at the top. I was at the top of a hotel, like at the top of a hotel, and we were installing like air conditioned units, like things that they weigh like tons, and we had to somehow bring that at the top of a hotel. And I still have a tan, like from 2 years ago. And then I listen to people talk about, oh, this is hard and this is hard. Everything is hard. It was hard when I was doing that. It's still hard now that I'm doing this, so everything is hard.
But
Like
you choose this hard over that hard any day, huh?
it's all hard because going to work for somebody else, not being able to leverage your professional experience, or going into a job that only pays you 1/10 of what you bring into the company, that has to be hard. Not being able to take a vacation, that has to be hard. So
Not being able to spend time with their children.
exactly. So like for all my people in the chat, like you have to choose your hard. Like it doesn't matter what you choose to do. It's still going to be hard. Still going to be hard. But let's see. I want to bring up something that Kathleen just said. Let's see. So Mr. B, bring that up. She said I have so many ideas.
Let's see.
Okay. All right, great. So she says, I don't want to go through the process of the failed businesses. I immediately feel defeat. So I back away because of disappointment. I've never been taught to succeed. So let me say something to that, Shaan. Failure is not the opposite of success.
Oh, yeah.
Failure is part of success.
It's one of the prerequisites. It's mandatory.
Exactly.
It's mandatory. It's the second chapter. So you go through hard times and then you go through failure. You're going to fail. And number 3 is accept it. You have to accept it. Number 4 is paradigm shift. When you accept it, it allows for a paradigm shift. You have to go through it, though. It's a process. I studied countless hundreds of millionaires and success stories, all of them. So let me say this too, guys. 80% of millionaires are first generation. So when you see people who drive a nice car and you're like, they got it from their mother, or they must have got it from, they didn't have to work for it. 20 of the 100 that you see, you might be right. But the other 80 of them had to grind hard and was born in ghettos and dilapidated sub units, right? For real. Trailer park sub units. They was hurting. And they figured it out. They clawed their way out from hard times, failures. They accepted the failures that they had and they learned from them. That provided for the aha moment or the paradigm shift. Sometimes it takes death. Sometimes it takes 9/11. Sometimes it takes COVID for people to have a paradigm shift. Once they get that paradigm shift, though, by whichever means, they realize, oh, there's a possibility. Maybe I can do it. Maybe there's something different. You begin to believe that it's possible. But through that belief process, you make a lot of investments in time and money, and you get a lot of kickback and pushback. And that's why you have to have faith. Faith is the 6th prerequisite to success. You have to have faith that it's going to work. Belief and faith are 2 different things. Belief and faith are 2 different intensity levels of the same thing. Let me say it that way. Belief says the earth is flat. Belief can be changed. Faith says, I know God is real. You're not going to change that. There's a difference in the intensity of belief and faith. Many people turn back from belief. Very few people really turn back from faith. And then tenacity. You have to be willing to go insanely hard. Tenacity is the grip, the unrelenting grip, the fervor, the tenacity. It's 3rd and down. It's bottom of the 9th, extra innings. It doesn't start until it hurts. Muhammad Ali used to say, I do sit-ups until it hurts, and then I start to count. That's when I begin counting. Many people stop when it gets hard. Some people start when it gets hard. I started when it got hard. And it's still not hard. So we haven't even begun to do what we got to do. But we going to get there because we running fast. Consistency beats intensity. That's another thing I want to tell you in business. Consistency beats intensity. A lot of people start phenomenally well. When you got dogs lined up at the gate, when you got horses lined up at the gate, they all look phenomenal. When them girls, when the girls or the guys are really like lined up at the gate, ready to take off, when the gun goes up and they go boom and everybody busts out the gate, everybody looks phenomenal. First lap, second lap, maybe even the third lap. There's so many more associates than there are bachelor's degrees. There's so many more bachelor's than there are master's degrees. And there's so many more master's degrees than there are doctorates. And that's because people drop out throughout the process. They be laying on the floor, tongue on the floor. I ain't got it. Give me some water. Give me a towel. Throw the towel in, ref. I'm done. Put a fork in me. I'm done. Some people stop at the first goal line. Some people stop at the fourth and goal. Some people stop right before they're going to get the reward. But most people stop. The people that you know that are successes, they just don't stop. They just don't stop. They have that tenacity factor. And that is the seventh prerequisite to success. If you keep going, you will figure it out. I'm here to help you. Look, you made it here. Somehow, look, what did Kathleen say? How did I get here? What in the world is this? I didn't know about this. It was time for you to learn about this. It was time for you to find out what this is, who we are, what we do, and why. Why? Because for some reason you haven't given up. And your God is real. So when you keep pressing and you keep praying and you keep working, faith without works is dead. Let me remind everybody of that. When you keep praying and you keep working, sometimes you deserve a sign.
That's right. Guys, we're going to go to one more break. I want you to put some flames in the chat if you've enjoyed this show so far. Shaan, when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit more of that. And we're going to help people, like walk them through the process about how we could help them take their lives, take their businesses to the next level. Let's grow.
Let's grow.
All right, guys, welcome back to Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Junior Frederick. Listen, if you've enjoyed this show so far, I want you to put a number one in the chat. Put a number one in the chat. Shout out to Mr. B on the commercials. Like I'm at the back when we go to the break and I'm listening to those commercials and I'm bumping and checking it out. It's really nice. Very, very nice. Listen, so we've given you so much value today, right? We've given you so much value. I want to ask a question before I bring Shaan back on. I want to know how many of you here, to the people who've been in the chat, thank you so much. I want to ask a question. How many of you here are actually ready for some real transformation? I want you to put a number 2 in the chat if you're ready for an actual transformation. So, we're not motivational speakers. We don't pump people up. We are about actual transformation, actually taking your life and your business to the next level. I want you to put a number 2 before I bring Shaan back on. Let's see. So I see Kathleen. I see we have one more person on Facebook. Let me see. I see we have Robin. Can you bring up Robin's comment, Mr. B? Robin from LinkedIn. Can you bring that comment up, Mr. B? All right. So she says, this program has given me the nudge I needed because I'm in the midst of hard. So Robin, my question to you is, it's giving you the nudge, but are you ready to go to the next level? Put a number 2 in the chat if you're ready to go to the next level. All right, so is Shaan in the building? Let's bring Shaan back on, Mr. B, if he is in the building.
Man, I know we behind. So listen, guys, the way we give value, this is what we do for a living, right? This is what we do, and this is passion. And this is what passion looks like. This is the face of passion. You absolutely love what you're doing, and you do it so much that you leave things for what you love to do. So you leave one thing that you love for something else that you love to do. So I was actually supposed to be on a call at 9 o'clock, but I'm so passionate. Freedom is the ability to make decisions immediately. Freedom is the ability to have options. Some people aren't able to have options and they don't really have freedom. They think freedom is something to do on the weekend. Well, I've got the weekend, so let's do something on Saturday. That's not freedom. That's someone else's decision imposing itself on your life. That's someone else's decision imposing itself on your life. I've had people come to me, Shaan, I'm done. I said I wanted to go on vacation, and they told me I couldn't. I've been working for this for so long. I got this amount of time set aside, and they said I couldn't use it. Right? Kathleen, I'm loving your responses. We got you. We got you, right? We got you. This is the thing, right? I want everybody to choose your hard. Choose your hard, right? And when you come across this brand, you come across this face, you come across our logo, you know what we do, guys. This is that we're launching our 5th program, Speaking Like a Leader, in 2 days, man. 2 days. For 2 months, I'm going to teach you how to use your voice. The reason why I went so hard right now is because I want you to see the power of speaking. The power of speaking. And I'm not the most, proliferate when it comes to pronunciation. That's not my thing. I'm not a thespian, right? I've read a couple of books. I know a couple of things. I know how to connect with people. I know how to help people transform their lives and businesses and go to the next level. That's my thing. That's my thing. I spoke to someone not too recently, or not too far ago, very recently, and she said, well, Shaan, sometimes I stumble over my words, and when I stumble over my words, I get stuck. I've stumbled over my words today. I don't care. I keep going because you hearing what I've got to say is more important than the way that I'm perceived saying it. Say that one more time and slow down a little bit. Sometimes I speak fast, so I slow down for a minute. Let me bring it back. Me saying what I've got to say to you is more important than the way that I'm perceived saying it. So if I stumble, my bad. If I pronounce a word wrong, I'll laugh and say my bad. I won't really say my bad. I'll keep going because it's so important that you get the message. I'll say it 5 or 6 different times in 6 different ways so you can get the message. But today, you got 2 more days, guys, for speaking like a leader. And I wanted to go a little bit harder today so you could see the power of speaking. If you feel that you've been transformed, if you feel like you've been motivated, if you feel like you've been inspired, if you feel like you could run through a wall, like I do every morning, it's from the power of speaking. It's from the power of speaking. We got branded like a leader, coaching like a leader, consulting like a leader, closing like a leader, and now speaking like a leader. Choose your heart. Are any of my programs cheap? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. And the prices are going up. So choose your heart. Choose your heart. Are they light? Are they easy to do? No. Will they require a lot? Yes. Will they be hard? Definitely. That's a promise. I promise they're going to be hard. They're going to be rigorous. Why? Because I'm trying to collapse an MBA and a doctorate and economic insurance, because you don't get insurance on your job. You get insurance when you take care of yourself. Look at the 401k. Look at the SSI in the state of affairs. Look at the Great Resignation. Look at COVID. None of that stuff is insurance. The only way you can get insurance is by insuring yourself. And the only way you can insure yourself in this economy is by high-level skill stacking.
That's right. Shaan, I want to ask a question here, because I feel like a lot of people, when I talk to them about speaking like a leader, they feel like it may not be for me, right? So, for example, I'll just use Kathleen as an example.
I'm going to say, can I say something to that? It might not be.
Hold on.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, the reason why I'm saying this is because, okay, speaking is the byproduct. No, it's not. It is one of the byproducts. However, the other byproducts, the other advantages are the things that people don't necessarily immediately see. For example, confidence.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question to Kathleen, to everybody who put the number 2. So Robin, Kathleen, Cedric, everybody who put the 2 in the chat. Do you believe that you could benefit from being more confident? Because that's what we initially started talking about. So put a 1 in the chat if you feel like you could benefit from more confidence. If you feel like you could benefit from translating the skills that you have now into a different form to open up a new pathway to create a new stream of revenue for yourself. So put the number 1 in the chat if you feel like you could benefit from that, because that's what speaking is going to do, right? That's what speaking is going to do. So for somebody like Kathleen who's in real estate, she might say, well, I'm in real estate. What does that have to do with speaking? It has a lot to do with speaking.
It has everything to do with speaking.
So while you speak to that, right? While you speak to that, I want to ask Robin and anybody else who's listening, what is it that you do? So put your profession or your industry, put something in the chat. Let us know what it is that you do. I think there was one person who said that she has a nursing, it was a nursing home. It might have been Robin, but she's a business owner.
Okay.
She has a nursing home, but just put it in the chat one more time. Let us know what it is that you do. And Shaan, as that begins to come up, I want you to talk to them about how that relates to speaking, how they can possibly bridge the gap and expound their awareness, right? Expound their impact, expound on their income through the power of speaking. So let's start with Kathleen and real estate.
Okay. When you're speaking to a prospect, they buy you. You buy you first, and then they buy you. I remember I was watching, let's say you fly into California. You fly into California, you want a home in California. If somebody picks you up in a Beetle, in a Volkswagen, and their affect is off, their communication skills are low, they don't look at you when they speak, You shake their hand and it's clammy. You know the fish hand? So I gives you the fish hand shake. Yeah, the dead fish, right? And it's wet and it smells like you get in the car and it smells like a dead fish, right? Or it smells like the Dead Sea. And they're apologizing for the fact that they woke up late and they weren't able to properly get dressed. And they're still going to take you to the apartment or the home, but there's someone looking at it because they mismanaged the time and the time when people were going to come. All of that is presentation and all of it is communication. As a matter of fact, it doesn't make a difference what a person says. Before you hear a person's words, their appearance communicates to you. Before a person even opens their mouth, their appearance communicates to you. And it says everything you need to hear because it won't make a difference what they say after the first presentation. However, here's another scenario. You fly into California, gentleman's waiting for you, immaculately dressed, Italian suit, waiting at the bottom of the escalator with a placard that says Kathleen Cannon or Miss Cannon. They take your bags from you. They say, welcome to California, welcome to Los Angeles. Let me get your bags for you. Your breath smells good. They look like they take care of themselves. They don't walk faster than you. They don't walk slower than you. They match your pace. And they walk you out to a candy red Maserati. Open the door for you. It smells like Italian leather. Put your luggage in the trunk or in the back seat, hop around, get in the front. What kind of music do you listen to? They set the tone. How was your flight? Do you need something to drink? They got bottles of water, Evian, right? Glass bottles of water, the expensive ones. So do you need to stop anywhere first? Okay, very well. We're going to go check out. And then they give you the details of the property that you're going to meet. They said that they had it furnished so that you could see the layout of the interior. This is all presentation. This is all presentation. Which one are you going to be more accustomed to do business with? The good presentation or the wrong presentation? Presentation is all about speaking. Let me say this first. You have to be a professional first. And this is why we teach branded closing, coaching, speaking like a leader. That's the commonality. Anyone can teach you how to speak. But what we do is teach you how to speak like a leader. Speak as the foremost executive in your industry. Help you to leverage your education, experience, and expertise into a phenomenal leadership brand. That's what we do.
That's right. So I want to ask another question now. I want to ask Kathleen, Robin, Cedric, and to anybody else who may be listening, how much would that be worth to you?
We help people keep. Okay.
How much would that be worth to you in time, money, and effort? So Kathleen, if you had the ability, so it's not just speaking, it's communication. If you had the ability to effectively communicate to your buyer or to whoever it is, what it is that you're selling. You know, Shad, it's so funny. I heard somebody say something yesterday. They said some guy was having trouble selling something. And the gentleman said, they're a better buyer than you are a seller.
Woo, let's go.
They're a better buyer than you are a seller. So
that's nice. I like that. That's a lot of confidence.
Yeah, that's right. They're a better buyer than you are a seller. So I want to ask Kathleen, what would that be worth to you? So Robin, what would that be worth to you? It's not only to your immediate customers. Think about the relationships that you could build, the funding that you could attract, the people that you could touch, the people that you could meet. how much would that be worth to you? I just want to test something.
If you're on the outside watching this, guys, put it in the comments. If you're on Facebook, put it in the comments. If you're on LinkedIn, put it in the comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, put it in the comments. What are those numbers like? Effective communication transformed my life completely. Good. Let me just say this, right, guys? There's no amount of money. It's priceless. The ability to communicate confidently and to be in what we call congruence, which means having confidence with yourself, knowing that you're going to be held to your own standards so that you can deliver on anything else. There's no amount of money. That's priceless. That's absolutely priceless. So what I would like to do is just ask you, have you learned something while you've been here? This morning, because I heard somebody, I think it was Robin, asked, she said this program, bring that Robin says priceless. That's right. Kathleen says yes, a lot. But Mr. B, look back and look at where Robin said this program. Bring that up one more time. I think you brought it up earlier because I want to point something out. If you don't mind, if you could be so kind, sir. This program has given me the nudge I needed because I'm in the midst of hard. Robin, put in the chat what your hard is real quick. And I want to speak to this statement. She said, this program has given me the nudge that I needed. This is a podcast. We do this for 1 hour a week. This has, like, our program, our actual program is that transformative process that we've been talking about. It's coming in one way and leaving out an entirely different executive, phenomenal leader in all aspects and in all bearings. That's what the programs look like, whether it's branding, coaching, consulting, or closing at a super high level. And that's what the speaking is going to be. The fact that she referred to this as a program just made me laugh when I saw it. I said, ooh, it feels like a program and it is transformational. And I'm glad that we've been able to give you the nudge that you need. And we can definitely help you get around that hard or figure it out so you can go straight through it. But this small snippet has no bearing on what our programs look like.
Right. You know what, Shaan? I want to do something today that I've never done before.
Uh-oh. What is that? Okay, hold up. Before you do it, I want everybody to know we don't script nothing. Right? We super organic and super original and super transparent. So I don't know what he's about to do.
All right. I want to do something that I've never done. But I want to, I think Kathleen and everybody watching, it really touched me today. Kathleen, Robin. I want to ask a question. Kathleen, Robin, anybody else? I know we have a lot of people who may be looking, maybe they're, a little bit shy. How serious are you? Because you put the 2 in the chat. How serious are you?
We got a nice amount of people on Facebook too.
Okay, well, to all my people on Facebook, put it in. This is for everybody. In fact, I can only do 5 people. I could only do 5 people. Okay, but how serious are you about going to the next level? Like on a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10. Like, no, I know you're very serious, but I want you to put an actual number on a scale of 1 to 10.
Said it can only do 5 people. What is this? What are you? Kathleen is a 20. Let's go. That's what I like. That's my kind of answer. Okay. Kathleen is a 20.
I don't know who said.
Facebook user says they're 10,000. Come on.
Listen. So let me see who else. So Kathleen is Robin. Robin, are you there with us?
Very good. Very
See, is
good.
Robin there? I don't know. I would hate for you to miss out.
Well, she said before.
Okay, well, in any case, Shaan, this is what I want to do. For only 5 people. Like, if you're really serious about getting this program, I will fund 50% of your tuition to this program.
Robin said
I'll meet
10.
you
She
halfway.
came in. Okay, so
I'll meet
hold
them
on.
halfway, Shaan.
Hold on. So okay, Jackie. That's Jackie. Facebook user is Jackie. So we got 10 and 20 on this chat. So we got to go to LinkedIn, we got to go to YouTube, we got to go to Facebook and see how many people are actually doing it.
Hey, I can only do 25 people.
Okay.
I will pay for half, but you have to meet me the other halfway. Okay, I'll meet you halfway because I mean we have to help people, man. Like people. So let me ask you, Kathleen, are you put a 20 in the chat? Are you 100% serious? If you are, I will fund 50%. And I need you to fund the other 50%. But this is just from me to you. I know we don't know each other like that, but this is from me to you. You as well, Robin. You as well. What I'd like you to do, what I'd love for you to do, if you're serious, I don't know where you might be connected with Shaan, right? I don't know where you might be connected with him. Maybe it's LinkedIn, Facebook, but I want you to send him a message. Send Shaan a private message saying that I am ready. Like, because I don't think we're connected online, but you may be connected with Shaan. So, Robin, if you're connected, I think you might be on LinkedIn. Kathleen, you might be connected on LinkedIn, on what you call it, Facebook. I want you to send a message to Shaan right now saying that, just say I am ready. That's it. So that's how I know it's like really you, because there might be some other people sending messages and stuff. So just put who you are. In fact, your name will be there, and just say you're ready. Just say I'm ready. And once you do that, then I'll take care of you. So Shaan, this is my gift to them. Like I
Got
said,
it. Kathleen reached out. She's ready.
oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah, she
So
did. She's ready.
Robin, Cedric, anybody else who's not in the program, who's thinking about coming in, like this is your time. So we have one person already, Kathleen. I think we just received another person on LinkedIn. So Robin, I don't know if it's you. Okay, Robin said she did LinkedIn. So we have three more people. I know there's people watching who may not necessarily want to put it in here. That's fine. Just send it to Shaan. You don't have to put your name in the chat or anything. That's fine. Just send a message to Shaan. But this has to be done today because I think speaking like a leader starts on Monday, right? So this
Yes,
has
it
to be,
does. Yes, it does.
this
Sharp.
has to be done today.
7
Yeah,
7 p.m. sharp Eastern Standard. So that means show up ready to speak, suited and booted. Be ready.
that's right. That's right. Somebody put that's an awesome gift. Let's grow. They know because our stuff is let me tell you something. Our stuff is not cheap. As you could see, it's not cheap. It's really not cheap. So that's a really priceless gift. And it's not even about the money. It's about helping you to overcome your heart, unleashing your confidence, and stepping into a brand new level of your life. So guys, we're about to close in the next 5 minutes. If you're looking and you haven't sent a message to Shaan as yet, like this is your final opportunity, right? This is your last opportunity. I'm gonna leave it open. I think we have room for maybe, okay, one more person just sent us a message. So two more people.
Okay.
More people. All right. So just send that message in. And maybe Shaan or myself, somebody reach out to you. I don't know who it is. Somebody reach out to you, but you're taken care of. If you send Shaan a message,
Yeah, Robin just sent me a message, so she's ready. So that brings us down to one, guys. Listen,
okay.
let me just talk for a minute for why I do what I do, right? I want to let you know why I do what I do. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. It took me a long time to get where I needed to be. It took me a long time to become who I needed to be. I was telling someone yesterday, a gentleman who I brought in, I told him that it took me 2 years here during COVID to absolutely smash this industry, absolutely crush this whole internet thing and, go from 0 to 7, right? When it comes to numbers. But it took me 10 years to get my story right. It took me 10 years. People are looking at me like a phenomenon, like, oh, it happened so fast. Like, how did you do it so fast? Like an overnight success. And I say, it sounds good, looks good. If you've only been following me since I've been, on Facebook doing what we do. But when I came, I had 10 years prep. I've been working on my story, life and story, getting your life right, getting your story right. That's doing those two things will get your business off the ground and you'll catch fire. Literally, you'll become a human ball of flame and you'll get it done in no time at all. You'll become a catalyst for change. But it takes those components. It takes that story. It takes the branding. It takes the leadership. It takes all of those components to be able to get it done. And that's what I told him. I said, it took me 10 years to get my story right. I said, it took me 2 years to kill it and do what we do and do the numbers that we produce. But it took me 10 years to get the story right. So what I've done with this program is I've collapsed it. I've collapsed the 10 years into the salient points that are needed. And I'm almost got a doctorate in education, right? Leadership for change. That's an educational doctorate. It's an EdD. So I know how to transfer knowledge. I know how to transfer information. Everything we do is evidence-based. Everything we do is immediately applicable, right? So this is the thing. I know that there are people that you can talk to and you can reach that I'll never be able to reach. Jackie, what's her name? Robin said that she owns a home care agency and helps people keep their loved ones safe at home, from seniors to veterans. My mother could have used that service. I could have used that service 3 years ago with my mother. Real talk. I know that Robin will be able to help people that I won't be able to help because I'm not in that specific sector. Now, Kathleen is in real estate. I know how important owning a home is. I know how important finding the right home is with the right interest, if any, and trying to get your credit right and get your mortgage right and get your zip code right. I know how important that is. But I'm not in the real estate sector. But through what I teach, I can help Kathleen empower her ideal client. And I can help Robin impact her ideal client, both with the same thing that I teach. This is what I do. I help people to empower their people and reach people and serve their people to a higher degree by reaching the people that I just can't reach because there's only one of me and I can only go but so far, and I'm doing so much right now. That's why I do what I do. So I want you to think of your industry, your specific business sector, your section of business, your specialty, what you fluctuate in. As though Cedric said, he deals with network marketing. Not my industry. However, the skill of effective executive communication and professional speaking will transform the lives of the people in that segment. This is what I do, and this is why I do it. When I said I wanted to see a million millionaires, it wasn't first leg. It wasn't first arm. So I don't have to touch them. But if I touch Jackie, Jackie can touch them. If I touch Tracy, Tracy can touch them. If I touch Kathleen, Kathleen can trust them. If I touch Robin, Robin can touch them. If I touch Cedric, Cedric can touch them. So I don't want you guys to be so short-sighted that you're only thinking about the people that you can reach and why you might not have confidence and why you think your reach might be limited and the scope of your impact might be limited. It's not. It's not. And I want you to take yourself off the whiteboard and just say to yourself, it's not about me. It's not about me because it's not about you. It's about the people that you touch, who needs to be touched. Your touch might go 5 generations before the person who needs the touch the most gets it. That's the power of effective communications and service provisions. And this is why we do what we do. We've made history. We're going to do it again. Our courses are groundbreaking. Everything we've done organically. Everything we've done on Facebook. And I'm more than pleased, more than happy, more than overjoyed. This is something that I never thought possible. So what other people curse, I thank God for and I bless, right? And I receive as a blessing. Whether it may be seen as something negative or positive to someone else, I see everything as being positive, and I turn negatives into positives all day. There is no negative when I'm concerned because my perspective won't allow for it. My innovation won't allow for it. My agility won't allow for it. I have a very lean system of the way I see things is one way. I see things through one lens, and they're not rose-colored, but they're empowered by leadership. Leadership doesn't allow for negativity to exist. It turns and transforms negative into a positive. And that's what we mainly do at my company. We help people to turn their pains into power, turn their losses into leverage, and turn their sacrifices into service. I truly, truly hope that you have enjoyed this edition of Breakfast with the Brand. This is, I believe, this is the last chance for you guys to make that decision and come on into speaking like a leader. If you're serious about it, we got you. Like, we got you from the beginning to the end. We have been stacking skills for the past 2 years, and we're not about to stop.
That's right. That's right. That's right, Shaan. And I believe your EA just reached out to Robin.
Okay, good stuff.
I think Robin, also Kathleen, and 2 other people. So guys, like, you should have the link. You should already have the link. So put a 1 in the chat once you've taken action. Once you've taken action. In fact, you know what, Shaan? We have a call immediately after this, right? I think we have the academy call.
Oh yeah, we do. That's right. That's right.
So Kathleen, if you've already taken action, so check your chat. I don't know if it's Facebook or LinkedIn. Might be LinkedIn, might be Facebook. Check your chat. If you've taken action, then you'll be coming directly into the academy immediately after this call.
Very good.
Right. So Shaan, we have like 5 more minutes, right? 5 more minutes. I want you to speak to how exactly. So apart from just speaking, like, what is it really about? Like, because we exist in a unique space, right? We exist in an area that is known as brand leadership. How does speaking, what is brand leadership? How does speaking help you build your brand leadership? And by the way, so Kathleen, let me know once you've taken action, as well as Robin, let me know once you've taken action. Put a number 1 in the chat. And anybody else who hasn't received the link, just put a number 2, and our EA will reach out to you.
Send it to Cedric too, because he said he wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Cedric,
and he said he got the results already. So let's see.
All right. Well, somebody.
We're gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna press you.
Okay.
To test you and test your resilience. Yes,
that's right. Cedric has the results, right? So
that's right. He wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he's got the results. So let's see.
Cedric's a boss, that shouldn't be anything.
That's right. That's right.
Somebody on my team, like, please send Cedric the link via LinkedIn. Okay. So Shaan, back to the brand leadership. Like, before you get into it, let me say what it is to me, right? What it is to me is being able, when I think about this, I ask myself the question, what if you could really step into your ideal life? What if all of the pain, the frustrations, maybe dreams that have been tossed to the side, what if all of that was leading you to a bigger and a brighter future, a bigger and a brighter tomorrow? What if you could leverage your skills, your abilities to build a foundation for yourself instead of always giving away your energy, your skill, your foundation to doing something for somebody else? When I think about brand and I think about leadership, branding is not just about the way that you show up. Like, it's not necessarily about the white shirt, red tie, right? To me, branding is about going into who you are, discovering who you are on the deepest level, and coming back. It's almost like a journey, right? It's an internal journey of self-discovery where you go through the process, you discover who you are, and then you bring that out into the world in the form of a business. Now, when you tie in the leadership, everything is leadership. So, Kathleen, you're a leader. You're a leader who perhaps hasn't, that scene, I think he was in the Lion King, right? No. Back in the day, Shaan, there was a cartoon. They used to call it Lambert the Sheepish Lion or something like that. Remember that?
No, I don't.
Very old cartoon. So basically, it was about a lamb that grew up, sorry, a lion that grew up among lambs,
They grew up amongst the sheep.
grew up amongst the sheep.
Okay. Okay.
And he was a lamb. He started making the noises of a lamb, started eating grass, and we call them grass-eating lions, right? Eating grass and all sorts of stuff. And then one day, some real lions found the hood. They did what lions do.
Yeah, they ripping them apart.
Exactly. And Lambert was the only one that was spared, and he wondered why. One of the lions, the older lions, the bigger ones, like, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? Like, what's up with you? Let's go. Why are you even here? He's like, but he's like, what's going on? He's confused.
He started making the sound of a lamb.
There. So the older lion's like, what's wrong with this guy? So they take him, they bring him to this little puddle. Like, look at you. So he's looking at himself, and he's looking at the older lion, and he's seeing the same thing. He's seeing the same thing. And on that day, he realized that he was never a sheep. So to all my people listening, all of you are leaders. Whatever you think you are, you were never a failure. You were never a failure to begin with. You're not broken. You have the ability to transform. You already have the skill. All you need is to make the first step, and to fully realize who you are. For me, that's brand leadership.
Well, I don't know if I can do better than that, brother. I mean, that's real. Like that's a real good analogy and a real good story, brother. I mean, that's a phenomenal illustration.
Yes.
Branding and leadership, for me, through my study of leadership development, I learned. So I studied leadership to a high degree, like executive coaching and speaking and media psychology. Leadership development has three main components: self-awareness, self-regulation, and emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, self-regulation. Another one is self-determination, emotional intelligence, and another one is authenticity. Main components of leadership. Going into branding, we learned early, I definitely learned early, that the same components exist. So I don't teach you, Kathleen, to brand real estate. I don't teach you, Robin, to brand what you do. I teach you to brand who you are. We call it brand you, not what you do. Because when you brand you, you're able to do real estate, speak, coach, write books, do workshops, webinars, all the things that you would like to do in between. And the same thing with you, Robin. When you brand you, Robin Peak, and not what you do, but who you are, then the nursing home or the service that you provide is only that. It's one of the many services that you provide. And I'm going to tell you why. Most entrepreneurs that turn into millionaires have 7 streams of income, not one. 7 streams of income. But you'll never be able to master one, nor grow into 2, 3, 4, or 5 to get to the 7 if you can't master the components of leadership development. Business is the most effective personal and professional development industry that there is. Business. You're going to learn a lot about yourself in business. You probably already have. I see Jasmine commenting with the lion face. You're going to learn a lot about yourself doing business. You're going to learn your core components. You're going to become very self-aware. I remember Kathleen saying that she kind of gets in her own way and fails and feels disappointed. That's a turning point. That's a you have to go through that to become self-aware and to become resilient, to develop that strength. You have to go through the losses, go through the failures, go through the misconceptions, and then have someone else correct your perception. Remember going inside of the Oculus when you go to a ophthalmologist, I believe, right? But you go to an eye doctor, basically, and you look inside of the things and you see different visions, and your vision is a little bit askew, and you see things that aren't really there, and it's blurry. And they turn the dial, and as they adjust the dial, things become more clear. That's what we help people do, to see themselves more clear. Because when you see yourself more clear, what you want to do is much more clear. Who you want to serve is much more clear. The ideal life that you want to have is much more clear. And when you can see the ideal life that you want to have much more clear, it's easier for you to create the ideal business that fits the ideal life that you want to have. Many people try to become successful in something they don't know if they should be doing or not. They reach that level and that pinnacle of success, and then they realize this isn't where I want to be. That's because they don't know themselves, so they end up doing the wrong things. And it doesn't make a difference how many times and how many different things they do. It's called fits and starts. It's called fits and starts. They start, they become successful, and they have a fit. Then they start something else. They become successful, and they have a fit. They start something else, become successful, and have a fit. And they really don't advance in their lives at all. Because advancement in your life looks like two things: freedom and peace. And if you don't have those things, that's what brand leadership does, is it allows you freedom and peace. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you've commented, guys, we'll reach you on the back end. I think we probably got a little bit more than 5 now. I'll fund the other half to 10, so there'll be 10 people that can come in at that number, half price. I'll meet Junior's honor, you know, and giving nature. This is what we do here. We want you to win. We want you to win, and we'll see you guys on the back end, and then we'll see you on the side.
Yes,
so
yes.
let's end now, so you can go figure out what you need to figure out and get with people on the back end to figure that out. All right.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for coming through. This has been Breakfast with the Brand. Have a phenomenal day. Speak soon.